Apollo 13 is an extremely dramatic movie about the Apollo 13 incident in 1970. On the second day, April 13th, one of Apollo 13's oxygen tanks exploded. The crew of James Lovell, Fred Haise, and John Seigert had to survive in a command module and safely return home. The overall objective was to land on the moon. Unfortunately, they never did. Apollo 13 is where the famous quote, "Houston, we have a problem," comes from.
We got a couple of housekeeping procedures for you. We'd like you to roll right to 060 and know your rates.
Roger that. Rolling right. 060.
And then if you could give your oxygen tanks a stir.
Roger that. Hey, we've got a problem here.
What did you do?
Nothing. I stirred the tanks.
Whoa. Hey.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
There are many factual as well as fictional scenes to the movie Apollo 13. Some of factual examples are that in the movie there was a bad coil in one of the oxygen tanks which caused the oxygen tank to explode. This did occur in the actual incident. Another example of a factual scene is that the very frigid temperatures in the command module were extremely accurately depicted through the actors as well as the module itself. Also, many of the roles and events in the movie were accurately depicted due to Ron Howard directly interviewing the astronauts and the mission control workers. Also, the rocket and modules were very detailed. Another final example of facts is that the temperature in the module upon re-entry was accurately depicted. It was cold in space, but also upon re-entry it was still very cold. Many examples of fictitious scenes are that Ken Mattingly could not have stood by his Corvette during the launch. He would have had severely damaged his ears due to the thrusters. During the actual day, he was actually in mission control watching the launch. Also in the movie, the CO2 scrubber was created by a team of people with random parts and duct tape. In reality, one single person created the scrubber. Also, in the film, Ken Mattingly used trial and error to correct the problem that Apollo 13 faced, although during the real incident, a whole team figured out how to solve the problem and get the three men home. Also in the movie, the crew on Apollo 13 used Earth to center their trajectory when returning to Earth, although in real life, they actually used the sun instead. But the biggest mistake of all is the sound of the thrusters themselves. In space, there's no air whatsoever, so sound cannot travel. So in the movie, when the thrusters were leaving Earth, there couldn't have been any sound, but in the movie there was. All in all, there are many accurate and fictional scenes to the movie Apollo 13. So in the end, is the movie predominantly fact or fiction? I believe that even though this movie is based off a very real event, the movie is loosely fiction. To me, the movie did not feel right. It did not portray to me the real danger those men faced. There are many inaccuracies to the event that occurred as well. Not only are there major mistakes, but there are minor inaccurate details too. For example, there are logos in the movie that did not even exist in 1970, like the NASA worm logo. The logo was not designed until 1976. Another small example is that the color of Lovell's Corvette was completely wrong. Although, these minor details make the entire movie out to be just another based on a true story movie that is just all Hollywood engineering.